We've got the Snapdragon 730G Redmi K30 versus the Snapdragon 730G CC9 Pro, otherwise known as the Mi Note 10. What I want to find out here is if you need to pay almost double the money to get the Mi Note 10 with the extra camera hardware and also the more premium design, if you want to call it that. Xiaomi put a curved OLED display in this, which is seen as more premium, although not everyone likes that. And of course, you have that insane 108 megapixel sensor, a huge expensive sensor. Do we really need it? The Redmi K30 is bringing an LCD display, but you've got that 120 Hz refresh rate, which is a spec that completely trounces the 60 Hz on the Mi Note 10. Should you pay extra for the OLED display on the Mi Note 10, or do you think the LCD on the K30 is good enough, considering you'll get a slightly better performance in gaming with that high refresh rate display? Because both of these phones are using the same processor, they're going to have very similar day-to-day usage results, so a speed test is really unnecessary here. So let's concentrate on the cameras. Do you need to pay more for the very unique hardware that the Mi Note 10 is bringing us? As we flick through the images here, the first thing that I noticed was how good the Redmi K30 was. I think the HDR and the difference between lights and shadows and the way it processed the images was really good. Switching to 108 megapixel mode here, you can see slightly more detail on the Mi Note 10, but I was surprised up to 5 times zoom, the difference isn't that big. Of course, the Redmi K30 is bringing the brand new Sony IMX686 64 megapixel sensor, and you can definitely tell why it has a good reputation. It's only in the very long zoom distance that the Mi Note 10 wins, because the Redmi K30 just can't take those images. Overall, I was way more impressed with the Redmi K30, considering it is half the price of the Mi Note 10, but in my opinion, the camera gives very similar results, if not beating the Mi Note 10 in some of the pictures that I saw. Of course, it's going to be very subjective which one you like, but I think the Redmi K30 has slightly deeper, richer colors, and it also keeps up very well within the zoom range from the main camera up to about 2 or 5 times zoom, but then the Mi Note 10 completely takes over and wins it from there. Stabilization is very good on both. Dynamic range is also very good on both. And again, I think the Redmi K30 has slightly richer, punchier colors. If you look at the palm trees in the top right hand corner, the Mi Note 10 tends to brighten them up, whereas they're kept a little bit darker on the K30. What I'm really excited for is the hardware in both of these phones to be paired with the latest flagship processors to get way more out of all of the hardware used. Overall, I think the differences on the main camera on each phone are very slim, but the Mi Note 10 does win because it has a longer zoom range and more functionality around that zoom. The K30 is a much bigger phone than the Mi Note 10. You get a bigger screen and that 120 Hz refresh rate. I also feel that the flat screen is actually slightly more comfortable when you're gaming. At least it is compared to the Mi Note 10, which felt quite small in comparison. Because the Redmi K30 only has a Snapdragon 730G processor, you can't play PUBG on the very highest refresh rates. So the 120 Hz display is not utilized to its full potential. However, overall, I do give smoothness of gaming to the K30 over the Mi Note 10. But if you're not really heavily into gaming, then you might want to go for the slightly more premium looking and feeling Mi Note 10 over the Redmi K30. Of course, this is all subjective, what you think is premium or not, but the Mi Note 10 is really the blueprint for the upcoming Mi 10 in terms of design and look. Whereas the Redmi K30 really does all the basics so well and gives you a really good spec in that 120 Hz refresh rate. However, the biggest difference between these phones is the price. The K30 is half the price, more or less, than the Mi Note 10. Subscribe for all the latest tech news and videos. Check out my Twitter for more info too. That's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.